Good morning, everyone. I don't know if you can hear this little song, Hawaiian rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Israel Kamakawiwa Ole. And it's so interesting to me. There is only one mind, because I was listening to it this morning as I was getting ready for this Sunday message. And right before practitioner Lynn started her meditation, which was so beautiful, all of a sudden Ruth Ann and Vivian both posted this song on Facebook, and I just felt so happy. I wanted to just share that with you. Apparently it's on Google with a little video this morning, a cartoon, beautiful cartoon video. So hello everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Carlsbad's virtual Sunday gathering. It's nice to have you here with us virtually today, whether you're right with us this very moment or tuning in soon, or whether you'll be tuning in the future when you get a chance, because, you know, it's always here, it's always the right time. So I'm Reverend Kate, and I'd like to start us off with an affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment. So I'm going to invite you to just relax for a moment and follow along with me. Now I'm going to use the word I when I speak, in recognition that I is the name that we all share. So in this moment, right now, I remind myself that this is a spiritual universe, a universe of good in expression, that there is only spirit, and that therefore each of us is spirit in expression. I know this to be true, and I give thanks that it is true, and I give thanks that I know it is true. I let go of my daily experiences, my worries and my cares, as I reach for that deep truth, that there is enough good, there is enough peace, there is enough love. This is an abundant universe. We have an unlimited capacity for good, and it is now in expression. And I accept it on the behalf of each and every one of us, knowing that we find peace right now, this moment. There is peace in this message. There is peace in this morning. There is peace in this life for each of us. We are surrounded and supported by love, wisdom, harmony, and health. This life is good. I know it is so. I give thanks for this good, and I turn it over to Spirit, knowing that Spirit always says yes. And so it is. So, well, I have to admit, it was pretty hard for me to settle on what to say to you today. The theme for this month is mindfulness matters. And quite a few weeks ago, I picked the topic of my talk, which is Daydreams or Destiny. And I had, plans for what I would talk about. And if you're like me, you probably have been hoping for weeks now that our lives would be back to some kind of normal, even if that normal meant normal with a mask. Instead, with the virus, the recession, and now yet another case of a police-caused tragedy inflaming our nation, it just kind of seems like that old saying, trouble comes in threes, appears to be true. But it isn't true, of course. Actually, bad things happen all the time. So do good things. But we humans are always trying to make sense and to find meanings and patterns in what's going on around us. And our culture has a special affinity for the number 3. Think about it. 3 wise men, 3 muses, 3 little witches, 3 little pigs, 3 strikes you're out, 3 musketeers, Los Tres Amigos. So, when we search in our experience and knowledge for reasons why bad things are happening, that old saw pops up and we start thinking, well, bad things come in threes. It was fated. But it's not. It's superstition. It's not the truth. What happens in our lives is not a matter of fate or superstition. What happens in our lives is a result, or you could call it, is a manifestation of choices. Choices that we and others have made in the past. A result of choices that are constantly being made and unmade right now in the present. Our future is not fated. It's being determined by our decisions and also by our lack of decision. Actually, not just our future, but our whole present situation has been determined by our decisions. Or you could really say it's being determined by our very thoughts themselves. So if you've been around religious science teaching for a while, you've heard the sayings many times. Change your thinking, change your life. What you believe you can achieve. There is a power for good, and you can use it as you choose it. These sayings are not superstition. They're actually based in deep metaphysical or spiritual truth. And they have just spread out into the world and become widely accepted. Lots of motivational speakers use them all the time. Just like they use the 12-step slogans of one day at a time or keep coming back. The reason why we use them and the reason why they've been picked up by others is because they work. But what's missing from these slogans is the how and why. So a lot of people think, and I certainly have been among them, think they don't need to know the how and why in order to be successful at something. For instance, if they want to lose weight, they know they just need to follow a diet plan meticulously and they'll be successful. I know it because it was my own experience. When I joined Jenny Craig and I followed it meticulously for a year and I was successful, I attained my weight goal, and then I went off the plan and quickly regained what I had lost. So what happened? I had made a mindful and conscious decision to follow the weight loss plan, but I never made any decision at all about what would happen afterwards. I didn't decide to lose weight, to gain the weight back, right? But even though my diet coach told me to keep coming back, I didn't bother. Oh, I was busy. I went on to other things. And before I had even noticed, I had stopped being mindful of what I was eating. And I had just reverted back to randomness, allowing that portion of my life to revert to just random habits. So when I first chose my title, Daydreams or Destiny, for today, I plan on talking about, how we can make a shift from wishing to knowing that there's good for us, that it's available to us, and how we can make a shift from dreaming to making those dreams actually come true in our lives. Well, now, today, June 7th, 2020, it's still true. But meanwhile, current events are knocking at our door. Current events are banging loudly at the door. And at my age, it feels a little like history is repeating itself. But it isn't. History is not the actor in this story. No. Our collective culture is repeating itself to a certain degree. We are the ones who are repeating ourselves because we, alone and together, we are the actors in this story. We, together, are once again facing our shared cultures, fears, and mistaken thinking that we have not yet managed to overcome. And so it has resulted once again in lives being lost for what seems like no particular reason at all. So what is it? What is it that we have gotten ourselves into? Our nation, and we're not alone, many nations, are actually reeling in pain, suffering, physical pain, emotional pain, spiritual pain. We call it disease. So something must be going on that seems to be a lot bigger than whether we can follow a diet plan and be successful or not. Bigger. And yet, what we teach and what I know is that spirit doesn't know the difference between big and small. Spirit just says yes. Spirit says yes to it all. Because big or small, there is still an underlying truth. And that truth is that we get to decide in unlimited freedom what we think about what is going on around us and within us. And we also get to decide how we're going to react, what we're going to say, what we're going to do within certain limits of natural laws, right? So there's a lot of choices right now. You could make the choice to ignore everything as much as possible. You could make the choice to sew face masks. You could make the choice to wear a mask. You could make a choice to assume that it's all silly and a hoax. You could make a choice to take more vitamins. You could make a choice to go to work at home, get a new job working at a grocery store, volunteer at a food bank, make a gift to someone that you know who is suffering financially, a gift of money or food. Maybe this is a time when you're going to finally publish your book or start a blog like our practitioner Susan has done. Maybe it's a time when you're going to take your work online like our center has done, or like Jodina has taken her Italian lessons online. A choice might be to start a remodeling project, start a gardening project, take up letter writing again, let people know how much you care about them, or even just catch up on old movie watching. get some rest. And one choice now is to decide whether or not to join in peaceful protest. The choices are infinite, and good choices are infinite too. So I thought a lot about whether I was going to talk about why I'm not going to join in peaceful protest. Obviously, maybe my age, my thoughts. But for me, that would be a repeat of my own personal history, having joined in protests 50 years ago and being affected by some of those experiences even today, and the idea of unintended consequences. So as my life has gone on, I have made a decision to rely more and more on controlling my thinking and moving forward into what I want, being the experience now. And sometimes it doesn't seem easy, but that's my own personal history. And other people need to make their highest and best choices. We're not all the same. We haven't had exactly the same life experience. Now, our organization, Centers for Spiritual Living, teaches something that I believe to be absolutely true. That there is good for us, a power for good, greater than we are, and that we can use it. And so flowing out of that belief comes a desire to create a world that works for everyone. And why not? We should. Why not? We teach that this is an abundant universe. We teach that life is abundant. It's not a zero-sum game. When I have something good, it doesn't need to take away from your good. My good doesn't subtract anything from your good. When the tomatoes in my garden flourish, that doesn't hurt the tomatoes in your garden, does it? And really, who are you anyway? Why do you even have a garden? Why should I even care about your garden or any part of your life for that matter? Aren't those questions that our society is dealing with right now? Well, that answer is the part of our teaching that moves us into even deeper thinking. Thinking that goes beyond the motivational entreaties or slogans. That moves us even beyond the golden rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you, to an underlying truth. And this truth is the beautiful truth that we are all living individualized expressions of God, of spirit. We're not just members of our nuclear family or members of our extended family. And we're certainly not just bundles of DNA walking around randomly. Each of us, all of us, are made of the very same substance of God. It's the truth. So, just bear with me and imagine for a moment that snowflakes could talk. And imagine that you've got a little snowflake talking to you in your ear, and that little snowflake is whispering to you that that other snowflake over there is not really a snowflake. It's different. It's different. And it's not as good as this snowflake that you're listening to in your ear, right? What would you tell it if this little snowflake could talk? Well, I bet you'd say something like this. little snowflake. You guys are both really just special little drops of water. You're both just having a snowflake experience right now. And yes, you are unique. You are different, but at the same time, you're very, very similar. You know, it might seem funny to say, but it's not exactly just a metaphor, because the reality, each of us is actually not just made of spirit like each other. We're actually made of the very same substance as snowflakes, really, because that's what everything is made of. That's what we teach. That's what I believe. We actually exist within spirit, and spirit is all-encompassing. There's nothing else. But we have this amazing gift of self-consciousness. This gift of self-consciousness, which is a modality for spirit to know itself through us. And so we can think about our experiences. We can talk about our experiences. We can think it through and begin to understand our spiritual, mental, and physical experience. You know, it's really a matter of cause and effect. Universal spirit is what we call first cause. The first cause that eternally is setting it all into motion. It is that eternal beginning, that moment in which we all live and have our being, the here and now. So the founder of religious science, our teaching, Ernest Holmes, said, there is only one mind. And he wrote this. He wrote, there is no such thing as your mind, my mind, and God's mind. There is only mind, in which we all live and move and have our being. Things are ideas in form. What else could they be? There's nothing from which to make things except ideas. In the beginning, we behold nothing visible. There is only an infinite possibility, a limitless imagination, a consciousness. The only action of this consciousness being idea. So what do you think about that? If it's true that everyone is made of the same substance, the substance of spirit, and if everyone makes use of the same universal mind, then how can we see each other as anything else besides being brothers and sisters? Right? Then Holmes goes on and writes, the spirit and soul of man are like the spirit and soul of the universe. The soul, being the seat of memory, already contains a record of everything that has ever happened to us. These memories as a whole constitute the subjective or subconscious tendency of the individual life. This tendency can be changed. This tendency can be changed through constant effort and a determined persistency of purpose. The soul life of all people merges more or less, and this creates the soul life of the human race, our collective unconscious. This collective unconscious contains a record of all human events that have ever transpired. And we are all, more or less, subject to this collective thought, since it acts as a powerful suggestion. The sum total of all erroneous human belief binds. When he says binds, he means ties us up. Binds until the individual mentally lifts himself above the law of averages into the higher law of spiritual individualism. That's it in a nutshell. He's saying, don't let your subconscious or our collective shared subconscious, our collective consciousness, create your life. Think for yourself. And to thine own self be true, right? Walk your talk. So ours is one of many centers for spiritual living worldwide. Most are in the United States and Canada. We are organized and we are in communication with each other, and like many denominations, our organization has put out a call, a nice letter, calling for racism to end. Instead of reading that letter, I thought I'd like to share with you the words of Martin Luther King Jr., who said so beautifully, and I'm just going to read his words. I can't imitate him, but we can listen to him. As he said, "Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends." And so, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. That's what he said. And those words came straight out of America's Declaration of Independence, which affirms this. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's an old dream. It's a historic dream. It's a precious dream. And it's our dream. It's been with us for hundreds of years. So why don't we decide right now to live it out? Let's turn away now from those old thoughts and memories that have been interfering with our acceptance of that dream. And let's let that dream of our destiny, shift from someday it will happen into now, today. It has happened. Let's live it out. Let's live it out in consciousness. Let's live it out in our daily lives. So I know you wouldn't be part of our center if you didn't already hold this as your dream. And so I invite you to join with me today in just deciding to let that truth, which we know in our hearts, let that shine forth. That truth that all people are created equal, let it be your truth. Let it be our truth in the here and now. We can claim it without any more struggle, and we can claim it for our nation without any more struggle, because it is our divine birthright. It belongs to us. So let's know that this truth of peace, justice, equality, and loving kindness, this truth of happiness and liberty is already in our shared experience, in our hearts, in our relationships, in our world. Today, right here, right now, in this very moment, and always, when we listen to our heart and begin to say, Black Lives Matter, nothing is taken away from good people of other skin colors or any people of other skin colors. Of course, I believe all people are good because life is abundant. Not only is there enough good for everyone, the more good one has, the more good we all have, because we're connected. We are a family in spirit. So we speak our word together. We create a new thought together, or at least what we're doing is beginning to put more attention on a thought that we may have held in passing, becoming more mindful, strengthening that thought with a persistency of purpose, as Holmes called it. The term Black Lives Matter is actually an affirmation. And the fact that this affirmation is echoing through our lives right now, entering into the collective consciousness in a powerful way, must change our collective consciousness. This and our mindfulness is actually how we overcome the past together. We make new decisions and we move forward into the day, the new day, with cheerful expectancy. So we make a decision. Let's expect 3 good things now. Let's expect excellent health for all. Let's expect abundant prosperity for all. And let's expect that equal justice for all is present in our lives right now. Don't hold back. Go ahead. Expect it. Allow it. Accept it. I'd like to share a short passage from Ernest Holmes' book, The Science Mind. It's called The Inner Light. He wrote, "The light of heaven shines through me and illumines my path. The light eternal is my guide and my protection. In that light, there is no darkness at all. It is a perfect light, shining from the altar of perfect love. Oh, light and love within me, thou art welcome. Light shines through me and illumines the way." I love that. I really wanted to share that. So before I close, I want to just let you know that it looks like we're going to continue on a virtual basis for a while. So next week after our Sunday service, we're going to begin hosting a Zoom room, and we will be sending out that information in the Friday email. So if you're not getting a Friday email, you could let us know either in this message below where you can post a little message or comment, or you could email us directly at truthliving@aol.com. You can text and call us at 760-434-9579, or drop us a note at 3039 Jefferson Street, Suite D for Divine, in Carlsbad, California, 92008. Because, you know, we really have appreciated all of your continued support for our center in these challenging times. And we want to make sure you know that we're here, we're in town, and we're available to be of service to you in prayer, or if you need something else, let us know. Because we are not alone. We are together. We're together with each other in friendship. And we each have Spirit with us, within us, and around us, loving us all the time. So, in closing, here's what I know. I know there is a light, and this light shines for each of us. Each of us is a light to the world. And we let this light illuminate our way. It shines brightly, not only for us, but for our world, guiding us, lighting our way, supporting us in our desires for good. And I know that each of us is now experiencing more and more good in our lives as that light of peace, love, harmony expresses itself in beauty, in prosperity, in perfect health, in heartfelt joy and happiness. This is the truth today and always. So let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you so much. And so it is.